Hello and welcome to the Tech Remedy podcast. I'm Jamie and I'm passionate about seeing businesses win using technology. In each episode, we'll talk to industry experts or business owners just like you. We'll uncover how technology is being used in the real world. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on LinkedIn for more insight and content to come. Hi, Geoff. Welcome to the Tech Remedy podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So I'll give you a quick intro and then we'll get into a little bit of questions and Q&A about Salesforce, Mint and CRM.
Cool.
So you're the founder and CEO of Mint, a leader in Salesforce consulting and implementation. And you have a passion for sales, marketing and delivering outstanding customer service. And Mint focus on helping clients optimize their Salesforce and CRM solutions.
Sounds about right. Yep.
Perfect. So lead on from there then. Can you tell me a little about Mint and what you guys do and the type of work and clients you help?
Yeah, absolutely. So we started, it was 2007, I think we first started, and I came to Salesforce as a customer actually. So my background has been in building businesses in facilities management sector and then latterly in business finance. And I needed something that was going to allow me to manage the relationships I had with our clients, people who are coming to us looking for business finance, and then also the funders and financial institutions themselves. I'd use the usual suspects like ACT and Goldmine and all the other things that were out there. And then I came across this thing called Salesforce and I thought, actually, this is really intuitive. It's really straightforward. Me as a non-techie can grasp it quite quickly, which was important. And so I took, I sort of bit the bullet really and went on the Salesforce training and development course down in Staines, as it was then.
Okay.
Got myself certified as a system administrator. And back then, 16 years ago, we didn't have all the certifications that we've got now. So it was very basic compared to what it is now. We just had the one cloud really, which was Sales Cloud. Then that migrated to Sales and Service Cloud. So I implemented it myself for that business consultancy I was running. Found it really easy. And then there was a light bulb moment for me. I can't remember exactly when it was, but I remember thinking that actually the thing that was interesting me more and I had more passion for was when people coming to us asking for business finance, it was the reasons they were asking for it, and that was usually to do with growth and scale and operations and systems. And I thought, well, hang on a second, that's exactly what Salesforce is great at.
Yeah.
My previous experience of that was in growing and scaling businesses. So I've taken businesses from just me above a garage in Maida Vale in London and sort of hitting the phones in the morning and then selling my stuff in the afternoon and doing invoicing marketing in the evening and sort of building that business to a point where we sold it to one of the larger players in the UK. And so throughout that, I've had to understand systems and process. And so for me, it just all clicked. And I thought, actually, this is more exciting for me personally. And so Mint was born from that point. And I effectively flipped what I was doing on the business finance side into Mint, which was and is a dedicated Salesforce consultancy.
Okay.
So we're a relatively small team. We're all UK based. We have a team of developers, of business analysts, of consultants, project management as well, that focus purely on Salesforce development across the various Salesforce clouds. So we've got, I guess over our last 15, 16 years, we've been servicing about 800 clients in total. We probably have about 20 or 30 live clients on the go at any one point in time. We've got great ratings on the Salesforce App Exchange from a CSAT score point of view. So I think we're currently trending about 4.8 out of 5, which is obviously it's not 5 out of 5, which we'd like it to be, but it's not bad. It's pretty good. So we have a strong reputation for the quality of the service we're providing because we've got a team of experts that really know their stuff. In Salesforce land, you have to be certified. So we don't have to be, but you can be certified. Our team are all certified across the various clouds and expertises, which means that we can really deliver the top quality solutions that our clients demand in this day and age.
So can you give, for the listeners that maybe don't quite know about Salesforce, can you give us a little bit of background about maybe what the Salesforce CRM or what CRM is, and then how Salesforce has maybe evolved over that same timeline as Mint?
Absolutely. So, great question. It's been a journey, and it's one that's evolving all the time. Not least with all the new AI stuff that's coming out, which I'm sure we'll get onto in a bit. So Salesforce itself is about 25 years old. I think 1999 it was founded by Parker Harris and Mark Benioff in San Francisco, and again it was born out of their previous experience with Oracle actually, and wanting to really build a CRM solution that was on demand. So therefore, software as a service, which is what Salesforce is. It's a SaaS model. So effectively, what you're doing is buying a license per user for the functionality features, the feature set that you sign up to. So Salesforce is not the only CRM out there. It's not the cheapest CRM out there, but it is the company that has the largest market share, I think currently trending at about 23%. Okay. Their growth as a business has been not insignificant year on year since they started. Yeah. I think we're still in double-digit growth for Salesforce business centrally, globally. Their revenues are, I think, currently about 36 billion or thereabouts. So it's not an insignificant player in the space. So what Salesforce gives you is really it's a platform. So it's a platform of customer service, of sales, of marketing, of what they call digital experience now, which is think of portals and connectivity with your customers. So it's really about giving your customer, as the business that's or using a Salesforce solution, a 360-degree view of your customer, of all of their interactions with your business, and that's massively expanded now since it first started. I said earlier that when I first started with Salesforce, there was just Sales Cloud, and then it became this thing called Service Cloud, and now there's Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Data Cloud. There's digital experience. There's a whole host of stuff you can do. Yeah. So really, anything that you can conceive of that you would want your business to do, whether platform-wise or technology-wise, Salesforce can pretty much do it. The other sort of extension to that as well is something called the App Exchange, which is where there are literally thousands, probably tens of thousands of apps of third-party companies that allow you to leverage the core platform and do things like integrate e-signatures or document management or marketing automation. We've got clients using it for inventory management, integrations into finance systems, whether it be Xero, SAP, or Sage. So it's quite extensive now. It's vast.
Okay, so a client or a customer or a business could take out Salesforce and whichever clouds or cloud they needed, and it become the central spine of their business and their infrastructure.
Exactly.
And you mentioned, I think you have a strong process and structure was like a key kind of value you had. I guess that fits in well with the Salesforce development and the use of Salesforce, because if you don't have a predefined way of doing things, it's really hard to implement a new technology to do it for you.
Exactly that. We have something called the Mint Way, which we have developed ourselves. It's not unique to us by any means, but it's something that we've developed over the years to ensure that we can really deliver good quality, highly governed processes to implement for client solutions. And it all starts with making sure that we understand the client solution. So it's the discovery. Yeah. So discovery is absolutely key, because it means that we get to understand the client business. We can learn what they're doing currently. It's like as-is mapping, right? So what do they do at the moment? Why do they do it? Challenging them on their thoughts and their processes. Yeah. And from that, becomes a conversation about process and about the reasons and about the future and what the future should entail, what the future looks like for the client company. From that, we can help with the design. We can map out the to-be processes, and we go through various iterations of this design, and then take the client through a journey, really. So it's a journey of discovery, first of all, playback to make sure that the client is happy with our understanding of the business. We then go through a sort of a develop and design phase, and play that back to the client, right the way through to development, deployment, and then after sales as well. We're looking at effectively a hypercare period and then managed services thereafter. So it's the complete life cycle of the project.
And once somebody has implemented that, they'd get greater efficiencies, they'd have better customer experience and service. What are the kind of main outputs that a client would expect to see?
Indeed, yeah, exactly that. So we've, just to give you some kind of color to that, we've got clients that we've worked with that have previously been using Excel or Google Sheets, or God forbid, real filing cabinets in the office to manage their business. And we got some clients that use Salesforce for an element of their business processes and still use filing cabinets for other bits of the business because they haven't quite migrated everything in yet. And so we often see we start a relationship with a customer on the Sales Cloud side of things. So it's about the sales teams. It's about wanting to understand pipeline, what the deal cycle looks like. And then the front end of that is marketing automation, where are leads coming from? What's the throughput of leads? What's the volume? What's the success rate on those? Then right the way through the sales process to build funnel and pipeline, have really good visibility of that. So from a Sales Cloud point of view, it's all about having that visibility, and that's really useful from a business development manager's point of view, BD team's point of view, because they can shout about how great they are because the numbers don't lie. The exec team love it because they can use that for forecasting, and of course one of the other things that Salesforce is superb at is MI, so management information you get out of it, so reporting, dashboarding. There's extensions to that nowadays as well with things like Tableau, but with the core Salesforce system, you get all of that out of the box for your license price, which means you can really see that measurable improvement straight away from day one. You can extend that then into things like Service Cloud, so you can start to look at cases, so ticketing, customer service. Previously, you might have been running a business where the phone rings and you write it down on a piece of paper or email Julie across the other side of the office, and you don't really know when things are getting resolved and things get lost in email. But within something like Service Cloud, it's all held in one place. It's all contained in, for instance, case management. So you can look at SLAs against cases, you can look at escalations, you can look at closure times. So there's all of that tracking and reporting you can do throughout the whole business process. And that philosophy translates right the way through the whole Salesforce platform.
I think a couple of points you mentioned there. So we see a similar thing in what we do where we can help people with things, but they're not always interested in replacing those Excel like processes or systems that have been outgrown because they don't see any real value to it. But when you look at elements like on the sales side, they can quantify, right, well, I can get more money in, I can see the revenue, I can see the direct benefit. It's an easier leap for them to adopt something like that than it is to replace that Excel sheet that's worked perfectly fine. So I think that's really interesting, and although we don't do Salesforce, that there's a commonality there. I think the other thing that's probably interesting is, and I had this chat with someone about the Power Platform recently, all these old systems that people have, as we get in an aging workforce and the people that might have built them are retiring or leaving or going somewhere else, that knowledge is lost with them. Whereas in a system like Salesforce, you've standardized it, and the idea, I guess, is anybody can pick it up and use it, and it's going to be maintained outside of an individual person, helping you scale and grow and not rely on that sort of tribal knowledge in effect.
Exactly that. There's one source of truth for all of your data. And again, that's further enhanced with all the stuff that's coming with AI and agent force as it is in Salesforce land. But exactly that. And having bringing the information from, for instance, your inventory management system or your customer service solution or your finance system into that one place, so everyone's got the knowledge they need at the right time is absolutely key to it.
And do you think that then, you mentioned about obviously the cost of Salesforce, has it changed who their target market is or who's able to access the power of Salesforce? I imagine in the early days it was more enterprise. Is it now starting to filter down so smaller companies can access it now? Or
interesting you say that. I think initially it was more medium-sized businesses that was the target. But then I think fairly quickly Salesforce got some good traction with some very large players. So I won't name drop names on this podcast, but there are a number of key global players that have been using Salesforce for a very long time. So it very quickly was seen as actually this is an enterprise solution, or could be an enterprise solution. And of course, the benefit of that for people in the small business sector or medium business sector is that actually, because it's all SaaS, software as a service, and the way that Salesforce work is that they develop, and in fact, there are 3 releases a year. So whether we like it or not, we get new toys to play with 3 times a year. And it's pushed out to all of us. So the stuff that's being developed for some of these large multinationals is also available to, the likes of us in our smaller regional businesses, maybe. So we get big benefits from that. So I think the Salesforce offering has been multi-industry, multi-vertical, and almost sort of size agnostic, because actually the principles of a CRM or a business apply no matter whether you're a 2-3-man company, and we have clients who are 2-3-man companies using Salesforce in the enterprise edition, right up to large pharmaceutical clients who we also have using exactly the same license model in Salesforce, but they have. One example, we work for a large US business who've got 15 global sites. They're in the pharmaceutical supply chain industry, and they've got thousands of people globally using the platform. So it's for everybody really, and I think their targeting has really been, I guess, historically for people in Sales Cloud on the sales side, because that was the leading product solution platform at that time. But now it's opened up so much that we have clients that only use it for Service Cloud. You now have something called Pardot, which is effectively the B2B marketing solution. That is something that you could almost use as a standalone. So you could silo off your use of the platform, although you've got the benefits of bringing it all together as a whole.
I must admit, I only really sort of knew about the sales element of it. That was how I sort of interacted with it. Yeah. Even though I've never really, we had a client who had it and we got a little bit involved with it, but we didn't really touch it. So I just, in my head, it was always like an enterprise product and it was all around sales. Yeah. I think probably the term CRM maybe doesn't do it justice with doing these different things.
Maybe if they had the time again, they wouldn't have called themselves Salesforce. I don't know, because
as you say, to be fair,
it talks about sales, doesn't it, rather than the platform play that it really is nowadays.
Yeah. So we touched on AI, or you mentioned it really early doors. Topical in I think everything we do, especially in technology businesses. Where do you see AI fitting within Salesforce or within Mint and you guys, and how you use either Salesforce or technology in general in the future?
Yes, it's really interesting. And as you say, the subject of hot debate. There is so much going on in the space. It's literally, you go to bed one night, wake up the next morning, there's something new, and it's almost very difficult to keep track of it all.
Yeah.
So AI in Salesforce is not new to Salesforce. I think it was 2014 or thereabouts, Salesforce first started investing in this, or investigating this and embedding it into the platform. We saw the first iteration of that was something called Einstein, which was embedded across some of the areas within the Salesforce platform. The new lease or version of that, if you like, is now called Agentforce, which was announced at Dreamforce last month in the States, and this is very much the hot topic of conversation. The use cases for it seem to be vast, and they seem to be changing every day. So at Mint, we work a lot in the healthcare life science space, not exclusively. We've got experience in manufacturing and healthcare life science, hospitality, a whole range. But in the HLS space specifically, not with Salesforce yet, but I know that there are clients we work with that are using AI for drug discovery and drug development. We are looking at using it within Salesforce, something called Health Cloud and Life Sciences Cloud, for patient onboarding in clinical trials. So that there is a lot that's being done with that patient experience. Certainly the clients that we're working with in the US, seeing a lot of that patient experience being delivered or serviced by agents, as they are in Salesforce, to help with that interaction, help that customer experience. So there are so many opportunities for it everywhere. We have a couple of clients that are using it or looking to use it specifically for their sales process. So whereas at the moment, just to give an example, we have one client, a couple of clients actually, we've just done a similar thing with. We take them on a journey where previously their sales proposals would be done in Excel spreadsheets. And so you put your numbers into Excel, and out it spits a number that you would then sort of paste onto a Word document, and then PDF it into the client, all of that stuff. So we've, over the last few years, 10 years or so, we've removed those processes from Excel and embedded them in Salesforce, so that it's really like a quick wizard interface. Put your numbers in, and bosh, out it spits your proposal numbers. We've also integrated that into document generation as well. So really, it's button click to get things out the door quickly. Yeah. So proposal turnarounds, for instance, that were taking sometimes a couple of weeks, we're literally taking a couple of hours tops. So there's massive benefits to that. The next evolution of that is embedding AI into your processes, so that you're not even having to go in to do the wizard piece. Yeah. It's being fed to you as a business development exec. Yeah. I think the challenge with all of this is always going to be your data. Yeah. Because AI's got to have the data to work with to be able to give you the results that's actually going to be meaningful to you. So I've thrown a few clouds into this conversation already, but there is also something called Data Cloud, which is another Salesforce cloud, if you will, that aggregates data from not just Salesforce, but from other sources as well. So your ERP system, your finance systems, etc. So having a meaningful output from AI is got to be based on your data. And I think that's going to be one of the biggest challenges going forward, is making sure that people have got good data and it's all in a place that can be interrogated by the agent, whatever that is. And of course, Salesforce aren't the only ones doing it, right? So we've got, in Salesforce land, we've got Microsoft, of course, we've got Copilot.
Yeah.
We've got other tools as well that are coming to the fore on this. You asked me where we're using it. We use it in our marketing at the moment. So we don't do anything with it from a business development point of view at the moment, but we can see opportunities to do so. But we're using it to help create content that we're putting out there on some of our social channels, and we're bringing marketing collateral together using AI just to help with even things like tone of voice, and positioning. It just seems to. Well, it's not replacing. We don't see it as a replacement of our team, but it's just giving them better tools to be more efficient.
Yeah, that's when we speak to people. That's kind of what we say. It's like you want to empower people. You want to like give them an additional tool and make their life easier, not replace them. Yeah. I think the point that you made about the data being king is the one everybody. If they just learn one thing, it needs to be that. Like there's so much data that we generate now, and if you're not using a tool like Salesforce where it's maybe all collated, but you're using all these Excel, for example, and you've got 10 different Excel sheets, there's absolutely no way an AI is going to be able to index and use that data properly. So your first step in the AI journey should be one source of truth. You said it earlier, sorting your data out and making sure that you're giving yourself the right platform to benefit moving forwards. And I think, obviously, we do the same thing here. We use it a little bit with our ticket system for triage and things like that, but we don't really use it for fixing problems. But we do use it on the marketing side of stuff. I think because it's easier to access those right now. But I know in the health sort of sector, there's more and more uses of AI coming out. I know they're using it to do x-rays at the moment, aren't they? To scan x-rays. I don't know if you've heard about that in the news.
Doesn't surprise me. I hadn't heard of that one specifically.
And it's been able to find the fractures that maybe humans can't see as easy, or it can literally read them so much quicker. You can get through stuff. So I think that's where, like, at the minute, we just, the tip of the iceberg is this content and marketing stuff. The real benefit is in those really long, tedious, or those like pharmaceutical related bits that people can do. So absolutely, it's going to be interesting in the future. And I think it'd be interesting to see where AI agents, did you say, at Salesforce? Agent Force,
yeah, absolutely. That's what it's
where
called.
Where they go with it, because I think everybody's kind of finding their feet with how it works and what it does. I know Copilot is in like a free guide, a paid guide for personal and a paid guide for business right now, and it's how does all that fit together? Which one should you use for which? So it'd be interesting to see how Salesforce handle that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, and I think we're going to find out over the course of the next few months. It's evolving, as we said before. It's evolving so quickly. It's just important to be part of the conversation and just being involved in what's happening. I think one of the dangers from a client point of view is, and we have had this from a couple of clients, is they've kind of heard this AI thing and have literally said, right, we want it, we want AI, without really understanding what that could mean or what that should mean. And so it's not. I think we're kind of at that early adopter phase at the moment, right? So you could be spending an awful lot of money as a customer developing your AI. I think our advice would be maybe not to jump straight in with both feet. Be involved, understand what's going on, understand where you can get most benefit from for your business, and then start to have these conversations with professionals that understand AI and your own company infrastructure and see where that can take you. There's definitely massive gains to be had from adopting it, but it's not a quick fix.
No, all the wins you see in the media, they're all being well thought out, or they're by big organizations with big resource.
Yes.
For the smaller companies or the everyday companies, like you say, you've got to fix your quick wins first before you start looking at bigger picture elements.
Indeed.
So on that, I guess, premise then, not necessarily with Salesforce, but if somebody looks at the business and thinks, I've got all this siloed data, I'm still using filing cabinets and I'm still using that, where should they get started to sort of start that journey towards a platform like Salesforce? What would be your quick wins or your getting started tips?
Yes, so our view would always be to have that initial conversation with a professional such as us, somebody who understands Salesforce, somebody has also been through the process a few times. You need somebody who's got some experience that can lead you and take you on that journey. You can find benefit and quick wins all over the place. It might be in your sales operations, it might be in your marketing, it could be in your finance department. The most important thing is to go through that discovery process. One of the things that we've learned over the years is the importance of doing a detailed discovery, and that really what that is almost not thinking about Salesforce. So let us think about Salesforce, or let your partner think about Salesforce, but just sit down, almost blank sheet of paper, blank whiteboard. Talk through your business processes. What are they like today? Where are your pain points in what's happening at the moment? Where are your inefficiencies? You might not know where they are or that you've got any, but just to understand that, map it out, almost document it.
Yeah.
It's also important to engage your team, talk to your team, because as a business owner or your exec team, we often find the exec team have got a very different view of life from the guys that are actually at the coalface.
Yeah.
And so it's important to be inclusive in those conversations, because at the end of the day, there's no point in building a platform or developing a platform like Salesforce just for the benefit of the exec team, because they will no doubt design something that suits them, but will forget about the fact that it needs to be processed by the guys at the coalface. So you've got to start with the discovery and then make sure that that's an inclusive discovery, and just be challenged. Prepare to be challenged by people who are going to ask you questions about why you're doing something a certain way, and be open-minded to another way, a better way, an improved way.
I think they're all really sensible. I think the point about getting the team involved and getting an external viewpoint outside of the management team is a massive one for us. We see it all the time where someone want to do something and they'll say, right, this is our process. But when you actually speak to the people delivering it, there's only half of the bit that you've been given, because they don't actually realize what's happening at ground level, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
So I think that's super important. And the bit about being challenged as well. Just because you've done something in a set way and it's got you so far doesn't mean it's the right way to move forwards.
Exactly.
And you don't want to take a tool, I guess, like a Salesforce and try and bend it to fit a process that isn't right.
No. I mean, Salesforce is so flexible and customizable. You can effectively get it to do within reason pretty much anything. But it's a question of doing what's right for the business process, and don't just take what you got in Google Sheets or Excel and just build it without thinking about it in Salesforce. There's more to consider than that, more efficiencies to be had.
So if a listener out there wants to get started and want to have a chat with Mint and understand where they might go, how would they get in touch with you? And
best way is on the website, so www.mintcrm.co.uk, or LinkedIn. We're across all of the social channels. But the 0800 numbers on there as well. So reach out, give us a call, and we're happy to help.
Perfect. And just in time for my closing tradition then, before I wrap up, can you share with me one piece of tech, an application or software that you could no longer live without, that you use every day right now?
Okay, so I was thinking about this, and I thought that it probably should be something sensible like a mobile phone or something, but the reality is it's Snapchat.
Okay.
And the reason it's Snapchat is because I've got 3 kids. They all use Snapchat. They don't do text messages. They don't even do WhatsApp anymore. Yeah. And one of my kids is now at university. The eldest one is now back from uni. And if you're not in Snapchat, I have no relationship with my family. So Snapchat is where it is.
That was an interesting one. I didn't expect you to say that. But I think it shows the trend in the world and where we're at now. That, again, I mentioned earlier about knowledge being removed as people are retiring. Salesforce and some of these CRM systems is a world that the younger generations are bought up using all the time. So albeit an old company might not have all these new tech put in, as the workforce grows into it, is going to have to adopt these sort of things as well. And I guess
absolutely
Snapchat is another version of meeting people where they now live and where they want to be communicating and how they want to be communicating.
Indeed. Indeed. It's just a great example of the way things move on and the technology and how rapidly it changes. And my guess is that maybe in 5 years' time, it won't be Snapchat. It'll be something that maybe 2 years' time, be something else. But
I think you're right. And it'll move so quickly. You're always a little bit behind, aren't you?
Yes, indeed.
Especially if they don't want you to know what they're doing, your children.
Very true.
Perfect. Thank you very much for being a guest. That's been really useful.
Jamie. Thanks for having me.
That's all for this episode of the Tech Remedy podcast. I hope you found it insightful and have some useful takeaways for your business. Please don't forget to share the podcast with anybody else that may help and subscribe for future episodes to come.